Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and today we will be playing Aggro for men. Yes, you can consider burn aggro, aggro for boys, in that, has a pretty high floor, low floor, one of them. The one that makes it, you can play it decently, pretty easily, but this is aggro for men. Not that this deck is, a complete mastermind of what to play, but it's fun. It's certainly fun, and it's a deck that I saw making the rounds, and some people saying they had success with it, and I thought, well, I'll try it out, and I've made some changes because we all have our certain preference cards and certain cards that we want more of. But you can see we're heavily into Noxus, as you would expect for most aggro decks. Noxus is probably going to be your consideration, but we're with Freljord, which is pretty odd and something that you often won't see, and we're actually going pretty all into Noxus with their Allegiance card, Basilisk Rider, a card that you have probably never seen played, and I don't think I've ever seen it played in the whole history of this game going back to open beta. It's like, I don't think I've seen that card. So let's talk you through the deck. We are obviously an aggro deck, so you straight away going to have the idea, but we are essentially running a bunch of Overwhelm targets, or big units that we want to buff up and keep alive and overwhelm them and then smack them in the face for a large bit of damage. It's very different to burn in that sense, and the burn obviously was just a lot more about not caring about the units and more just caring about dealing the damage. But we are essentially, the general idea is combine Overwhelm units with Ballista, Basilisk Rider, Darius, with Fury of the North and other tricks. They give you the ability to absolutely smack them in the face with something massive and win the game that way. And then, combine that with a bit of early aggression as well to potentially allow us to win the game. So let's talk through the cards themselves. Well, Elixir of Iron is one of those cards that's going to keep us alive. Just a one-of. Obviously, we don't want to skew too far away from the Noxian Allegiance package, but I think Elixir of Iron as a one-of, it's a pretty nice, neat spell that's going to, again, keep our things alive. And obviously with those Overwhelm units, it's kind of like Boom Crew Rookie, right? If you can get multiple attacks off with them, with a Basilisk Rider or something like that, or with even a Darius, it can often be game winning. And so something like Elixir of Iron helping them keep alive is quite nice. In a similar sort of situation, Omen Hawk is kind of doing the same thing. It's buffing up our units, which obviously gives them a better chance of surviving. It's also a one-drop. Obviously itself isn't going to be doing too much, but the fact that it allows us to, curve out into a one-drop more likely, and the fact that it gives our bigger units more chance of surviving is very, very useful as well. Precious Pet is an obvious choice as well. I think if you've played the burn aggro deck, this was probably the best one drop, and many of you will have experienced that because it's unblockable on turn 1 pretty much, unless they go warning shot into Jagged Butcher, which good players would never do. But Precious Pet is a very, very nice card. Brothers Bond again is a super card for, again, allowing us to, if something is unblocked or if it's our Overwhelm units, just piling in more damage and just, potentially allowing us to finish the game. I think the original list was running 3 of this. I've cut it down to 2 as I found it a bit clunky in situations. It doesn't always work. You kind of need 2 targets for it, and because, we're more focused on 1, maybe 2 big units, it doesn't always pay off as well, so I've cut it down to 2. Crimson Disciple, I said we weren't really a burn aggro deck, but this kind of is the little burn package that we're running alongside it, and why not? Because it's super strong. And Crimson Disciple, it used to be Boom Crew Rookie, but now I would say that this is maybe the best 2-drop in the game, and I think that's quite evident. And well, maybe War Chefs. One of you, War Chefs or Elise, is probably the, they're the premium 3, I would think. But Crimson Disciple, certainly a very good card. House Spider does give us multiple targets for Brothers Bond, and is a potentially, extra threats. And a House Spider, it's just a really good card. It doesn't seem like it, but it really is, in terms of, this one little 1/1 spider might trade into them. As I say, with our combat tricks, we have, more sustainability on the board, not just relying on one target, and that could be useful. We're running 2 of Imperial Demolitionist, and this might surprise some people, but as I say, because we're looking to keep our things alive, dealing 1 to them isn't really our ideal. Obviously, it works really well with Crimson Disciple. By running 2 of them instead of 3, it means that anytime we draw this, it's more likely we've got a Crimson Disciple already, and we're less likely to find a useless target if we just run 2. And as I say, we aren't as much of a burn deck, and the 2/3 body isn't doing too much for us on its own, but it's still a useful card, and it still will obviously deal damage to the Nexus, so it's pretty good at that. Transfusion, again, is another combat trick that's going to keep us alive, works well with Crimson Disciple, yada yada. Draven, Draven, he obviously will give us the spinning axes, and if you can level up Draven, then he will have Overwhelm as well, something that you don't always see, but can be pretty good if you do get it. And as I say, with the spinning axes, increasing our attack again is pretty useful. And Ballista is kind of one of the payoffs of the Overwhelm. Might, obviously, is going to, if we do have, one of our smaller units without Overwhelm or Draven or something like that, giving him Might can be pretty effective in a lot of ways, particularly on Draven, of course, because with this quick attack, by increasing his attack as well, it will probably mean that it'll kill whatever it is straight away and potentially overwhelm them as well. Noxian Fervor, it's just a good reactive tool that if something is dying, we can just, undo that and deal 3 to their Nexus instead. And as I mentioned, Basilisk Rider, Fury of the North, and Darius are kind of our top end here. Really big men, and combined with Fury of the North, of course, this is a scary, scary combo for a potentially massive hit. And Darius, when he levels up, it's pretty scary, and as I say, a lot of this kind of stuff has kind of been stopped in the past because of Ionia. Like literally 1 card stops Darius from being pretty good, and that is Will of Ionia. Similar to Braum, similar to many other larger champions or just large cost units in general, that their playability is always tied to Will of Ionia, and previously Will of Ionia has always been a 3 of in any Ionia deck, which has normally been top tier. Whereas now, really only Heimervai is your top tier Ionia deck, and with its playability coming down, things like Darius go up. So yeah, that's the deck, and I think it's a lot of fun at that. So let's get into some games. So we're playing a bit of an odd deck here, a Bilgewater Demacia list. If I had to guess, this is probably something around like kind of like a scout deck, but Gangplank instead of Quinn, maybe like a Misfortune deck generally. And I think, look at this hand, we've got Precious Pet, Crimson Demolitionist. We could probably drop the Fury of the North, but obviously we'll always keep those 2. Elixir of Iron, pretty nice as well, that's kind of why we run that card, and we are attacking on 1, so getting a Precious Pet out early is always pretty good. This could be Parlay. Okay, he's running Parlay. Obviously what Crimson Disciple is going to allow us to do is oftentimes we are going to be able to survive stuff like Make It Rain, and Crimson Disciple is a very good way of stopping such stuff like Make It Rain. So this will be either the Merchant, yeah. So this looks like a heavy, just a heavy Bilgewater deck in general. Okay, that's obviously a bit of a joke. But there's not much we can do about that either. We shall obviously go into the Demolitionist now, and by turn 6, if we can get him down to 10, that would be ideal, as his deck probably has very limited ways of dealing with something like Darius. He gets a buffed up Badger Bear, so this game's probably over unless we can really use this Disciple to do a lot. But yeah, this game's probably done already, I would say. Let's place the Crackshot Corsair. We can just go into Omen Hawk. We could stop that damage, which might be somewhat useful. So we will. And we just have to pass it along. Second Merchant that's buffed up. Really do love these cards, think they're a lot of fun. Probably a buffed up unit of ours. We can play the Basilisk Rider, which is buffed up, and we don't get the Allegiance, which is just our luck in this game apparently. Hey, what can you do? What can you do? That means we are drawing a Freljord card, which probably means it's a Fury of the North.
I love a taste of the action.
This kind of becomes a useless card now. But we can attack with the Disciple. We could probably attack with the Rider as well, why not? I don't mind getting rid of this Badger Bear, that's fine. And I also don't mind just doing that. And honestly, I kind of want to kill this anyway, so we might as well increase the attack of you two as well. So we do get the burn damage in. Kill this Badger Bear, though he's probably sitting on Make It Rain now, which he can use on this. No, just a Misfortune. Well, we could trade this into the Misfortune if he ever attacked with it. He gets our Basilisk Rider, so he gets a second one that he pulled from our deck. So is it just a Fury of the North? I mean, I'll just block here. That's fine.
Give him the claw.
Captain's orders. Bullet to the face.
So yeah, we'll just block there.
Ends here.
And we can go into Darius, and with this Fury of the North, we could probably do quite a bit of damage to him. This, depending on if he's got answers to this, we could be okay. We do have to drop him now. Again, we do have to hope that he doesn't have a good answer. Bill for Goods, wow. Love this game. Love those cards. Fun, fun, fun. Fun for all. Just gets a Jagged Butcher. Is this... Oh yeah, the Plunder effect isn't a summon, of course. I mean... Riptide Rex is probably more likely for next turn rather than this turn. So we probably should go Draven first here.
Just like old times.
So you could potentially get a good trade from him. We will attack with Draven, of course. Well, I'll take the other way around, you know, just in case he didn't want to block the Draven before him. But it's going to force a kill on the Omen Hawk, which is somewhat useful. He goes in for that. See what he does here. He goes for takes a Might from me, which is fine because obviously we're just gonna Fury of the North Darius. That's kind of the whole point of the deck. And he should have no way to really deal with that. Now Darius is leveling up. He's got 4 health, which is not ideal, as a Riptide Rex next turn would be pretty bad for us, but we shall see. Basically, we just have to survive next turn, and then we should be okay. So he attacks with the Misfortune. That's interesting. He's going wholeheartedly in. So I think probably do just block out. He's I would bet 90% that he's on Riptide Rex right now. That would be my sort of guess. So maybe we shouldn't have blocked with you. If he is, then we've probably lost. But if not, then who knows? Got this Whirling Death if we really need it for whatever reason. So he goes for the Might. So yeah, this is a good time to use this Whirling Death. That probably means that he doesn't have a Riptide Rex in there. He took 2 Mights from us, which was obviously not ideal either. And we can save our Darius now from even something like a... I lost my train of thought completely there. Oh, Make It Rain. We could save him from Make It Rain by doing that as well, which is somewhat important. He did have it. Okay. So that's brings us down to 2. We essentially just need anything with Overwhelm off the top, and with the cards we have in hand, we'd probably be okay. But I did say almost certainly has it, which is a shame. But yeah, we just need any Overwhelm off the top. I mean, he kind of, you know, got us in a bit of a situation there. We did get it. Okay. We can give this what?
I'm one of the good guys.
8, 10 attack. 10. Yeah, that's a good game. So obviously we have to... This is very important as well, that we commit first this. Because otherwise we can just obviously take the hit and not die. So we have to do this first and make sure he does block it. And when he does, we just Fury the North. And somehow, you know, we're good at the game. We're a top deck guard. And we get him. Even though he drew pretty much perfectly. Swain Ezreal. Interesting, I've been playing around with that a bit myself. So we definitely, these two cards are actually pretty good. In that kind of matchup, he's likely on some sort of Thermo Beam. But we might have drawn one too many combat tricks here, but okay, no Thermo Beam, that's helpful, it's handy. Could use with a unit, of course, ideally, to come out. Nope, just more combat tricks. Oh, so it's a bit more of an aggressive, perhaps, deck than an Ezreal deck. In total, well, I'm going to take my chances that I can... If you're playing Swain, I'll take my chances that I can beat you down. And that's a pretty handy draw as well. And we are going to play you because it gives, you know, stuff like Transfusion more leeway. You know, and unit-based isn't really his strength. I mean, this is fine as well. If he wants to go for something like Mystic Shot here, you know, we've got the Elixir of Iron. Goes for a Death's Hand, which we can punish pretty heavily. About as heavily as you could, really. That's bringing him down to 10. And yeah, we're looking pretty strong here. No 1-mana Blade's Edge or anything like that. So yeah, we're good, it seems. We've still got the Elixir of Iron to survive anything. If he does have something like Blade's Edge on you. Ravenous Flock, okay, that's something that we can't deal with, unfortunately. Certainly interesting. And we got a pretty neat attack off there, I would say, overall. If he comes in for the open attack now, we will Elixir of Iron. If he just wants to end the round, we'll end the round. So there's a Might. So essentially this turn we are probably just going to go in on the heaviest combat tricks we can. So we'll start off with just that, I think. Which then might make him think about something. Or we could just go in for it now. I'm trying to think of what options he could have here that don't end up in him dying. It's going to go up to 7 health. He would have to have an awful lot of burn to deal with 7 health. And it would have to be pretty extreme. 7, so he'd need 6 bit of damage. It's not maybe as extreme as I thought. But if he does go into something, we can always reply. So he does go in for that Death's Hand. So now we will Fury of the North. And that gives us a 9/7, which is obviously dealing 8 here. This is going to be 2 already. 2 from the damage of the Boom Crew. And yeah, we get him. It's as simple as that. See, this game is easy. You just need to draw 2 units and you can win. Braum Lux. Interesting. I mean, we've got a nice 1, 2, 3. Braum Lux, you'd imagine like Frostbites? Maybe standalone? So I kind of like this hand overall. Braum on 3 is obviously a bit of a nuisance, but other than that, I kind of like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. Oh, Paro deck, okay. Oh, is this just the Aurora Borealis deck? Okay, well, Poros often get off to a somewhat slower start. Unless you're this guy and you top deck that exact one. So he's going to obviously kill the precious pet. That's somewhat fine, as long as he doesn't have Braum opening hand, and I don't think Braum is correct in those decks either. I don't think Braum, kind of an issue with Braum that he doesn't synergize very well with the Poros themselves. But if he doesn't have Braum, we got a pretty good attack, and if he does play Braum, well then nothing really changes. We getting 2 damage? Like nothing changed there from this, other than his Braum, you know, getting 4 damage off. But we've got transfusions and the likes. This is, I mean, if he's on standalone, then obviously we are in some trouble, but otherwise we should be okay. Crimson Disciple, love it. Says to me he doesn't have the most options when it comes to that. So I'm fine with giving him the 2 damage. Does have a take heart though. That's, you know, not ideal. So what we shall do here, against a Braum with a take heart, we're still going to open attack, I think, because he's always going to block this Iron Ballista. But his deck probably doesn't have the most interactivity. He might have a single combat, and if he does, obviously we're in a bit of trouble, but otherwise could be okay here. So he's going down to 12. If we just do this and stop that Braum level up, that would be nice. So he does have the single combat. Which is obviously unfortunate. So we'll level up his Braum. So now we've kind of got a choice, right? We could make you bigger with the transfusion. We could make this bigger, which makes the 3 damage still go off. Which I actually don't mind at all.
Is that all?
So that's going to make the damage go off. Yes, his Braum will level up. Unfortunately, our Darius isn't really hitting much here. He gets a single combat.
Look how we have grown!
Then we do kill you, and he's going down to 7. Because he's used 1 single combat, you'd imagine he
Remember the objective.
hopefully doesn't have a second.
For the glory of Noxus.
That was probably a misplay, to be fair. I probably should have waited till next turn, but we got away with it. Single combat was pretty much the only way he could have done anything there. Shame that this transfusion won't quite hit. So we'll just skip. We're not under any pressure ourselves. And so I think we can go into Darius, knowing that he's probably on something like Aurora Borealis or Lux or anything, but this, he has to block this with Braum, you would have thought. That's pretty much his only way of dealing with something so big. Unless he is running Frostbites, of course, and that's a pretty big Darius no-no. That's sort of one of our biggest weaknesses with this deck, is often the Frostbite package. The Frostbite, like, mid-range deck is probably one of the worst matchups we've got. But if he does next turn go in for that, we can obviously just further the face. I know some of you might be thinking, well, why not just further the face? Well, there's a reason we don't just go in on that. So he has Barrier.
Protect you.
See, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to commit this now on the Darius. And why am I doing that? Because it stops a single combat. Because there's nothing he can single combat here. It would have to be Concerted Strike to deal with this. Whereas if I wait for the hit, then any single combat can kill my Darius. That isn't doing it. just leveling up Lux, but that's a bit slow. And we should be good here as well. Yeah. And with the transfusion in the back pocket as well, you'd imagine we're good no matter what. But we always have to commit that beforehand, just to be sure. So yeah, there's the deck. I think you get the idea. It's just, you know, I mean, that game where we won with just Disciple and Precious Pet as our only draws. That's a pretty funny game. And yeah, one that I enjoyed quite a bit. But yeah, you get the idea. Just play big stuff, kind of hit them in the face with it, and then just sort of call it a day and be happy. And it works quite well, surprisingly well. So I hope you have enjoyed. My name's... excuse me, I've been Chris. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.